Hello guys, this is the pre-market analysis of 12th of June. It's a Friday. Now listen to me very carefully because we are going to get a 200 point gap up and I'll tell you what to do actually, what can be expected in this market. So it's a Friday, not an expiry day. So if they want to keep it as a trending day, this is a day which is possible. But already when you're getting a 200 point gap up, so you know what is going to be the scenario, right? Any time you saw a gap up, it just got solved into gap down, it has just got bought also. And any time in intraday also, if you are getting a 200 point up move, it is, witnessing a selling. 200 point down move, it is witnessing a recovery also. Irrespective of whether there is great positivity. For example, Nifty expiry day, it was a great positive day, and previous day, it was a big negative day. So let me show you. So it looks positive day. I'll tell you the reasons that we are going to, this is a market close, where we are going to get an open around this level. From where yesterday the bigger sell-off has came around that level. So now that is one thing. Secondly, gap down, you are seeing an aggressive buying. And any up move of around 150, 200 point, you are getting similar sell-off. So this is another buying. Any up move of 150 points, you are seeing similar sell-off. Now gap up, this day Nifty expiry, great positive day, Iran US, Iran Israel peace deal, and all those came. So great positive day. So we expected this gap to be filled, but expiry day they managed it. But today is not an expiry day, so if they want, they can give a move. But again, a great positive day, but still you got a gap fill and then recovery. So 150 point down move, 150 point up move. This day, a great negative day. You got a bigger gap down, but then from there, 150 point recovery, 150 point sell off. So two things that you need to keep in mind: a big gap down, eventually get a buying, a big gap up, eventually get a selling. And within intraday, if you're getting a 150, 200 point recovery, then you will see a sell off. Within intraday, if you see 150, 200 points sell off, then you will get a recovery also. So this is something which you need to keep in mind. But what is the exception today is positivity is there. Crude for the first time, I think it have fallen almost 5%. So that's a great positive. So here we have seen crude have fallen 3%. That's why I told you it was positive and agreement was there. Here crude have risen, in fact increased 3%, and that's why it was a big negative day. It's even a better day. We are going to get a gap up. So gap up means there can be a sell-off. Further 200 point gap up means 150 point sell-off can be possible. But here, this day was an expiry day. So they are bound to keep it sideways. They cannot keep or giving an immediate move to fill the gap. What they did it on the next day. They filled that gap because this day, eventually they had to fill the gap. They didn't do it. Next day, they did it. Now, today is the day. It is not an expiry day, and you are getting a gap up around this level. And normally, Fridays are for straddles. Rarely we get trending day, but today, let's see, even if it need to give you a trending day, even if you need to capture that move on a Friday. See, Sensex premium is also expensive. Nifty is also slightly expensive. So you are not someone going to enter right at the open. In case if it is giving a trend, it have to give a healthy pullback and then give the trend. I don't mean to say that you will have to wait for filling the gap after 200 points. Then that momentum is weakening. It's gone. But filling the gap, you'll get beautiful trade also. Look at this. They came, fill the gap, got the beautiful trade. Right? Similarly, yesterday also, even gap fill, you got an opportunity. I've posted that live video. Right? So gap filling will give you an opportunity, but the momentum will be lost. Then slowly, slowly, only the recovery will come. But what I mean is you can look for a healthy pullback, maybe to 20 MA, maybe to the immediate pivots, or maybe 100 point dip. So if you are getting that, then that is when you should be, if at all you need to try on the upside, because Friday, it's a straddle day. They first now try to just, initially the put premium will get deflated, call premium will go up. So they'll try to just give a dip on the call so that they can sell more puts at slightly more better price. And then it can go sideways. It can once again go to the high. It can give a slight breakout also, can come to 23,500 also, but only after giving a dip. Without giving a dip, if they are moving, just leave it. Because that's not in your hand. But if you're getting a dip, just buy it. Okay, now let's discuss the other scenario. I hope this part is very clear. This is the ones, those who want to just trade based on the technicals or based on normal price action, you need to know. Now, those who are interested with respect to the fundamentals or what all things have happened for them, now we can discuss what other developments which are going on. Just 1 minute. So guys, as I told you, the positive is now Gift Nifty is trading at around 23,450. So we may get 200, 230, 250, 1% gap up. Okay. So again, if you look at crude oil price, WTI is at 86 and Brent crude is around 88. This is the lowest level we have seen in the last 3-4 months. Right, we have seen mostly above 100. At times we have seen even 120 also. A couple of times it spiked to 125 levels also. Now, if you consider that, it's almost 50% dip you are getting from that level. So 80 below 90, this is for the first time that I'm seeing after 3-4 months. Since the war began, there's a first time. So again, a fall of 5% from yesterday. That looks very good. And also the US-Iran peace deal, it is in the very great development process also. And last night, US President have announced that with the discussions which they have done at the higher levels of Iranian leadership, the proposed or the planned military strike on Iran has been called off. Otherwise, Trump was threatening Iran that they are going to face hell and all those things yesterday also, and that we thought as escalation. And then he further said that the final points of the initial peace deal has been approved by the president administration, and the preliminary approval is already there with respect to the initial agreement, and the details of signing ceremony will be announced shortly. So that is again triggering the market as a very positive. And they're involving Middle Eastern countries also, and they have also given the approval. So that is why it's a very clear language that the deal is almost reached. And previously, whenever we are seeing, Trump was using extremely strong, rhetoric against Iran, including statements like, taking over Car Island and all those, right? But at the same time, US Congress have voted against sending the military to Iran unless the United States is attacked first. So if attacked, the US president could respond with military action with or without prior congressional approval also. Now, again, President Trump have made this allegation that US helicopter has been shot down, and that he can take as part of this narrative that as a kind of attack, on US. It is not necessary because Iran cannot go to US and attack physically, right? So this should be treated as attack on US, and then without Congress approval also, US now have the power to attack. So because of that, also there are a lot of discussions which were going on. Apart from that, if you look at US inflation, there are political news, geopolitical news, which are positive, but wholesale inflation data, that is 3.5-year high. Month on month, wholesale inflation, if you see 1.1%, this is significantly above the expected 0.7 level. Remember, when we talk about inflation in US, you cannot compare it with India. There, the rates are, even the growth also, when you see 2.2%, 3%, that's significantly higher. We talk about 7%, 8%, 10% growth. Why? There is a base, right? Base effect. US is a big trillion economy. That means it's a big economy. 2% of that itself is this. But we are an economy like this. And when we talk about 10%, it's this only. Our 10% growth is very much less than their 2% growth. So if you see, this is our 10% in terms of growth. This is their 2%. Now, why this is happening? Because of the big base that they have and a small base that we have. Even if you look at the stock market, Taiwan has overtaken India, South Korea have overtaken India with a very small, 3 crore is their population. And we are, 40 times, 45 times of them actually. Okay, so all these I need you to understand in terms of that perspective. So inflation is not that great, but still it's manageable. But despite that, what market focused yesterday on the peace deal. So that is why I'm skipping that. Inflation majority are theoretical. So let's skip that. If there is something which is coming related to Fed later, that we can focus on. The US markets, if you see, Dow Jones is up near 2%, 2%, S&P also, NASDAQ also, and VIX have sharply dropped to 12.5%, dropped 12.5% and below 20 now, which is again very good. And if you see ADRs, Indian ADRs, except Infosys, all remain positive around 2.5%. So I would be surprised if we are not going to get 1% gap up on Nifty. And even if you look at arbitrage calculation, still there is a positive difference of approximately 1%. So that means there is a fresh positive momentum which is going to come in our market. And if Nifty want to break 23,500, if they want to break, today is the day. But otherwise, India also have some structural negatives, but this area is now cleared. US markets is up again, fresh all-time highs and all they are going. So if we are getting that gap up today, if see, the market is now becoming predictable. Gap up gets sold into, gap down is bought into, 150 point up move, you're getting a sell off. Now, if they want market to change its dynamics or character, this is the day. Gap up, which is followed by an up move. But unlikely, if that happens, then everyone will get trapped. Why? Because when you see gap up, many call selling will come. Now, if you get a follow-up move, these call sellers will get panic and they'll have to exit. Then that trigger further move on upside again and again and again. So that keeps going on. That can give you gamma blast. That can give you an upside momentum if that happens. So now market is predictable. If anything which is unpredictable is coming in the opening, then that is going to be a great opportunity. So global outlook also, if you see, let's leave that because all this now it is not important. Monsoon issue is there. That's something which we are going to face in the future. Meteorological department issued a warning that monsoon is slowing down, below average rainfall. I've discussed about this many times. Inflation can be higher. So these things are something which we need to discuss later, not important for today. FII sold yesterday 2000 crore, DIS bought 2250 crore. So there is a net inflow from institution 2250 crore. Derivative also, if you see participant wise, 8% new call additions, 13% new put addition. That means more puts have added. That is going to be a support. So increase PCR is better now, 98 from 93, 0.93 to 0.98, which is close to 1. But today things have changed completely. So if I say yesterday's close, it's almost neutral, but now it's completely changing. So, it appears that US-Iran deal is moving forward and very close, but still no official confirmation have came from Iran's side. Trump have stated that agreement had been reached its highest level of Iranian leadership and final stage and all these. Any setback in this negotiation that can negatively impact the market. Now, for now, oil prices down by 5%. US markets close strongly positive. Global momentum is strongly positive. GIFT Nifty is indicating 1% gap up, 200 to 250 point gap up. ADRs are indicating fresh momentum, 1%, 1.5%, everything except Infosys. Rupee also remains stable. That was one of the concern. And US futures are trading above 2% higher. Overall, everything is looking positive. So be very careful. Never chase that, right? You may miss it if you chase. See, why we need to chase it? FOMO. We may miss it. It's okay. We get an opportunity. If it goes from there without taking us, let it go. Why unnecessary? First thing that you need to look at is, if I'm entering here in the air, what's the risk I'm taking? I'm taking this risk. Is it worth it? No. That's a simple question which will answer. Irrespective of what reward I'll get, the risk I take is high means I won't go for it. Only three things that you need to follow in trading: small risk, small profit, big profit. Avoid the larger risk, larger losses. If there is a possibility of having a larger loss, just avoid it right at the moment you see that possibility itself. Then there is no problem. Just that you miss the trade, right? But otherwise, if you're taking a trade, there is a possibility that it can give you a larger loss, means we'll have to avoid that. Now, technicals I've already discussed, right? So I'm just skipping that part. Open interest also, 23,500 is the resistance. It's opening around 23,400. Let's see 23,500 how the price is reacting. If it is closing, 23,800 is the next level. 23,000, 23,200 is going to be the stronger support on the downside. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. Hope you will do well. If you are interested for the live market mentoring program with me, we have the community where we trade live, we teach live. I teach live only. So you can join us. You can talk to my team and join us. I see you there.